I'm expected to give a one-liner. I don't have one. I'm British, I like queuing. I'm Alex, I've lived in Seoul for 6 years now. Here we are in Seoul. Pretty much the trendiest place in Seoul. I come here often to take photos, but today I'm here to speak with Noe about fashion in Korea and hope to give some kind of insight into the ins and outs of Korean fashion, trends, and who influences it the most. Some of the trends I've noticed in the past in Korea are quite similar to ones they have now. It's very black and white, literally. A lot of the high-end fashionistas here will continue to wear the same very simple color tones, occasionally with a single point that stands them out, maybe a specific trend item of the time. But the trends, they try to follow the same kind of trends that are reported by the bigger bloggers in Europe, such as Scott Schumann, the sartorialist, Lee Oliveira, the Global Street, Tommy Ton. The trends are very similar, but I feel like Korea does have a very young vibe in their modern day. There's a lot of children now, I say children, high school students. There's a high school student I shoot with, and she just saved up money for her first camera, came out onto the streets, and she runs a very successful blog now reporting on modern trends. If you come to Seoul on an average day, especially a weekend, and walk down the main street, on the right hand side you'll see a small pocket next to the Hollister, and that's pretty much where all of the street photographers congregate. They wait usually for that special someone to come along, or quite often most of the fashionistas and the photographers become friends. I know I've certainly made a lot of friends in those kind of cliques and groups. The more I shoot, the more people I meet, the more of their friends that know that I'm not some kind of crazed foreigner just wanting to take their picture. They trust me to take a good picture. That's one of the biggest things, the trust issue. They don't want to be portrayed in a bad light. So if I can take a picture which makes them look taller, thinner, more fashionable, then they're going to come back to me and ask me for a picture again later. So you do end up taking quite a few of the same picture, the same people on the same day as a lot of your friends, but the trick is to find a different place to shoot. Seoul, while not the largest venue, once you get to know it, does have quite a few, I can count off the top of my head, 18, maybe 20 different locations that I would shoot depending on the person I'm shooting, what they're wearing, if it's a girl, it's a boy, if it's an older man, an older woman. It demands a different kind of tone. But you will find a lot of people shooting the same thing week in and week out. Fashion Week is coming up, that's going to open my horizons quite a bit. I think in October 18th, Fashion Week kicks off, so that's where you get a wider selection. That's what I'm hoping to kind of take those more elite photos, those real fashionistas and models specifically. I want to capture people on the street, not necessarily let's go from here to here, pose you, shoot you. I quite often I get criticized a lot. I don't take that typical Korean street fashion shot where they are perched against a cafe wall looking immaculate. I like to have them on a curve, like they're not even looking at me. Perhaps they're talking to a friend, or they've seen something in the distance that they're looking at, and I'm capturing that moment. That's the goal. I'm still struggling with that. It's far easier said than done. A question I get asked a lot actually about being a foreigner on the streets. Like, how do you do it? I've lived here 6 years, so my conversational Korean is pretty fluent. I have no problem asking for a picture verbally. I have no problem asking. Sometimes I'm too shy. I do miss a lot of moments. When I first started, I could walk the streets for 4 or 5 hours of an afternoon and ask one person for a shot. It sounds pathetic, and it was really, really pathetic, but one of the reasons I started was to bring myself out of my comfort zone. Being foreign definitely caused me trouble in the beginning because it was another barrier to me. I was shy. I knew I had to speak to them in Korean. What if they asked me why? What if they rejected me? That was going to ruin the rest of my mood. You know, if I built up enough courage to ask, one rejection would knock me right back down to the beginning. So being a foreigner in the beginning was tough, but now I use it as a benefit. Like there's a sort of disarming quality about it. The first thing that people say is, "Oh my God, why do you speak such good Korean?" And immediately that just breaks a few barriers between us. It's now much more jovial. You know, how about, do you mind if I just take your picture? Do you mind if we just walk around the corner? In the beginning, even just moving from where they were was a real hassle. I didn't feel like I didn't want to burden them. With confidence, it grows and you become more flexible, and the more you shoot people, the more they recognize you. You're able to take them somewhere and say, well look, this morning I found this place, what you're wearing, perfect match, let's just go there and take that picture. If you're good, and they know you can take a good picture, they'll want to go there to get that picture taken. It goes up on their Facebook, their friends like it, your friends like it, everyone likes it, you get more likes. You take those people's photos to get known, and also because they dress well. There are a lot of people who dress well in Seoul, but they are the same people. And so the things I enjoy the most are taking pictures of people who I've never seen before. I literally just met a girl from Hong Kong. My friend and I, we were umming and ahhing, do we take her picture, do we not take her picture? She could be Japanese. I only know how to ask for a picture in Japanese. I don't know any other conversation. If she says no, what are we going to do? But we went for it. Turned out she was from Hong Kong. She had the most amazing skirt on. She was here for like 3 days. I would never have seen her again. You know, I still don't like burdening my subjects, so unlike some of them, I don't have them walk across the street, turn around, have them walk towards me, do a spin. I like to have an idea where I want them. I usually follow them. If I'm following them, I follow them till a place where I know that I can shoot that I like. I overtake them and I ask, excuse me, do you mind if I take your picture? If they come out of nowhere, you think fast. You've got enough experience shooting in Seoul. You know pockets of good shooting spots throughout the street, in the back streets or on either side. So it's experience that helps you with that, but the process has always been the same. To find the person, to find the space, and to think how best you can show off what they're wearing. It depends heavily on what they're wearing. If I want to shoot a guy wearing skinny jeans and a shirt, I don't need to go as deep as I need to go if I'm shooting a girl with a long skirt. The skirt flaps in the wind, you want to give her depth. If she's just standing straight on in a pair of skinnies and a pair of sneakers, you don't need that depth. It also affects where you shoot them and how you model them. So the process is always the same, but depends. Occasionally you find an amazing spot with great light, you wait, you camp it. Sometimes you wait for an hour, no one comes along. Sometimes you get that just one person, and it makes the wait worth it. That's pretty much how I view it. There are fashion groups. They're almost fashion houses, so to speak. Groups of very fashionable people who formed their own. Some of them are actually legitimate companies, but quite often they're just groups of people that maybe they went to the same fashion school together. They both got the same eye. There are certain fashion names. There's a fashion group called Glua. They have a studio near Seoul, so I mean, you know, it's fairly serious if they're renting a studio in Seoul. While not expensive, it's a commitment that they've made. They produce quite a lot of stuff. Their Facebook page has got some 30,000 likes, I think. So they're a pretty serious force. They attract some of the higher-end models, magazine models, to shoot with them. Their marketing director is a girl called Lee Ga-hyun. She's, I've only shot her once. She's one of the ones that when she comes around, you shoot her. You wait. If someone else gets there first, you don't think I'll catch her next time. You wait, and you get that shot. I shot a gentleman from New York yesterday. His name's Gerard. He is from, he's from the US, and he teaches English over here, much like everybody else. But you will struggle to find a more fancy dressed foreigner. I mean, he's pretty immaculately dressed. I shot him for the first time yesterday. He's definitely a trendsetter. He's another one of those. I mean, I've heard such things as, if you find yourself a Gerard, you take the shot. So there are plenty of people that we know that always come about. There are other fashion houses that don't really go by a specific name. They're just known. When you see them, you take their shots. Models. There's a few of the more popular models. Irene, for example, she shoots along here quite often. I haven't shot her yet. There are a few other models that come by. My timing with models is appalling. I really have not been here at the right time. So I've had a lot of trouble with that. I really do want to capture more of them. They're not necessarily trendsetters in what they wear, but it is so obvious that they're models. You can tell a model. They're taller perhaps, they just have that vibe about them. So they're usually the people that everyone clamors to take the shot of, but quite frankly, they don't know. I mean, I'm still not familiar with their names, a lot of them, but when you see them, you know who they are. And you'll see them if you go to any of the Korean Facebook pages, the street shooters, you'll see the same people come up. As you sift through the pages, there they are again. I shot a couple just 5 or so minutes ago, and I shot them on one of the very first days that I ever started shooting here in Seoul, and subsequently after that, 3 or 4 times over 3 or 4 consecutive months, they've appeared in Look Teak and Marvel. I mean, maybe I caught them at the beginning, maybe I caught them halfway through and just didn't realize, but those sort of people, when you see them, you just take their picture, and you get to know them as you take more. I'm sure there's still people that I haven't met. I say even up until yesterday, I was meeting people that I'd seen my friends take pictures of, I'd seen appear on Facebook pages, had no idea about their names. I knew they were part of good groups, but thought to myself that perhaps if I asked, they would reject me. But again, they know you, they get to know you, you give them your card. It's a confidence thing. You take that one important shot, and all of a sudden they want you to take their picture again. One of the people I shot yesterday messaged me, "Do you mind if I come here again today? Will you take a shot of me on my own over there?" A request. I mean, that kind of thing shows they trust me enough to take a decent picture, and so you build that over time. So that's one of the things. Trendsetters come and go though. They're getting younger. So there's a lot of high school students who are coming along here, and a few of them, I wonder how their mother lets them out the house. There's a few 16-year-olds that I've seen and almost asked to shoot, and when you see them you could swear they were 20, 22. So I think there's a new crop of them coming up as fashion becomes more accessible. It's much more common now to see younger people wearing things that are not necessarily more revealing, but far more, I'd say, powerful and maybe trendy. Maybe it's becoming more accessible in price. Maybe students are just spending more of their money on that now. Maybe that's the thing that you do. I was not a trendy youngster, so I don't really know that, so it doesn't really bother me. But I like to think that the best shot for me is when someone has a style. I don't care if it's a style I like, or if it's a style that I would wear myself, or I would date someone who wore that style, if it's a girl. If they've got a style that they're working, and it fits them, and they have put it together, that's the shot. Quite often it lines up with everybody else. You see the same person, you think, wow, that person's really got it going on, you take their shot. There are plenty of times where I'm the only one in our group who runs after this girl, and they speak to you later like, what did you see? Like, did you not see her? Did you not see the way she was put together? So opinion will always play a part, always. So what I view as a trendsetter is not the same as what other people might view. Apart from the more household names like Hago, like I said, it will vary. The models come and go as well. There are always new models. I met one that was 19 the other day, up and coming model for Beyond Closet. I mean, he was just happy to have his picture taken, made friends, he spoke a bit of English. They're really personable people often. They just have that model look when they walk down the street. So as long as you speak to them, you can disarm them, it's pretty comfortable. So definitely worth doing.